Hello, friends, and welcome to the Monday Show 28. I'm your host, Wes. With me, as always, my good friend Roots. Roots, March is finally upon us, friend, and I am excited. What about you?
I'm excited, and I wasn't expecting Half-Life Alex to fuck our schedule up, but the things that they released were so good that we had to put the show off an extra day, or at least it worked out that way. So that's just the beauty of life, right?
Yeah, see, sometimes we delay things and we don't even know why until after it's done, right?
Yep, just works out. Everything happens for a reason, and big believer of that. So I just roll with it.
Yeah, and how about the Half-Life Alex, man? Were you as blown away as I was with it?
Oh yeah, I was so blown away that I was telling you I naively told Alex in the Discord, oh yeah, I can wait. I'm not going to watch them. And then it dawned on me I have to watch them because I need to talk about them. So, but I ended up watching them several times just because it looked so good. So I guess we'll end up
Yeah,
talking
that's
about that in a little bit. But yeah,
Yeah,
uh,
that I was the same way. I zaprudered that stuff down, and I'm sure that in the coming days that people are even going to dissect it even further the way that they tend to do when it comes to Valve news and Valve releases. But we'll talk about that a little bit later. First, we need to do the Monday show,
yeah,
and the way we always start the Monday show is by talking about what we've been playing. And this week, Roots kind of inadvertently we've kind of got into some multiplayer stuff, didn't we?
yeah. None of them were supposed to happen, and then they both happened, and it was kind of weird how it happened. So
Yeah, yeah. It's always cool when the Monday show comes together organically and we just kind of end up in stuff together and like, oh, well, I guess we'll talk about this. And that was the case when it came to half and half. I've had this one in my library for a while. This is a formerly paid application on both Oculus Rift S as well as Oculus Quest. But then, like a month or two ago, it went free. So I put it in my library, of course. Who doesn't love free stuff? But I never really went into it until you suggested it yesterday, and you went into it even before that, didn't you?
yeah, yeah. It was funny because I wouldn't have gone into it either, except for Scion, gaming science teacher, and I were all playing some Dash Dash, and we needed to find something that we could all do together because she's got a Quest and we were on Rift, and I think Scion said, "Oh, what about half half?" And I was like, "Oh, I got that game. I don't even know what the hell that game is." And so we decided to go into it, and I was actually pretty surprised at some of the games on there. Like this one here that they're about to show was my favorite, and it's a hide and seek game. And what's cool about it is you got one big guy, or I guess one team's big, one team's small, and the small person moves around by slingshotting themselves around. So you're this little guy and you're slingshotting yourself around trying to keep away from the bigger guy. And I don't know, I just had a lot of fun in it. It was way more fun than I thought it was going to be. And especially when you have 6 or 7 or 8 people in there running around, it was cool.
Yeah, basically what half and half is, for those of you who don't know, it's a collection of multiplayer mini games. And the games themselves are fairly common staples among these types of applications. But what really makes this game is just the kind of style and flavor it has. You go into the menu screen, and there are already people walking around in there just in the overworld. The menu screen is the overworld. And they walk up to you and they try to talk to you, but if they're not in your party, it's just it's like a foreign language. They start talking and it's just la 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 la, and that was my immediate first impression was just weirdness. And but you know me, I like weird games, Roots.
Yeah, it was weird because I was sitting there and I was talking to them, and I had to Scion and gaming science teacher, and I said, and somebody was like la la la, so I thought that's what they were saying, so I was like la 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 back to them, and then it dawned on us that everybody was saying that, and it's kind of like I kind of equate it with like Peanuts, the teacher, how it's wah, 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 wah. um you hear them talking but you can't hear what they're saying. But no, it's a good way of knowing that somebody's communicating. But I don't know. I like to talk to people. So I wanted to hear what they really had to say. Maybe I didn't, but I don't know.
Yeah, well, I mean, maybe you should just party up with everybody you meet.
Yeah, maybe. But no,
But
there were a couple in here that seemed like the games were a little redundant as far as like not as fun. But you know what was really cool is like, and I would suggest this for anybody that didn't win the free diver key, and you are just craving to go swimming. You want that swimming mechanic. There's one door in there that it's just water and fish, and you literally that's all you're doing is swimming around with that mechanic, and it felt really good, right? You were even saying it almost felt better moving around in there than freediver, which is amazing because freediver feels amazing.
yeah, well, what it is it seemed more conducive to an inexperienced player.
Mm,
It was easier to get around in. I like the mechanic in freediver because it seems a little more realistic.
mm,
But in this game, it was designed around
mm.
easy to do. And yeah, it was a very relaxing, tranquil room that we were in when we were under the water. Sound effects were really cool. Visually, while kind of basic, very crisp and colorful. And again, what I enjoyed probably most of all about this is just the style of it. You know, it was a very strange world to be in, full of strange people. And even though the games were kind of basic, these games were chosen for a reason, right? This stuff's fun to do when you've got your friends with you.
Yeah, hide and seek was just so much fun, man. Who doesn't want to be a small little plankton creature and slingshot yourself around? It just was so unique. And like you were saying that you wished it was a little bit bigger because it's like was easy to get found. But like when we went in, it was like 2 a.m. and it was just me and you. And so it was just me looking for you or vice versa. But when you have a room full of people in there, it's a lot easier to not get caught. I got up to 5 orbs. Took a while before I got caught. But you and I caught each other pretty quickly. So
Yeah, yeah, it wasn't that difficult when it was just the two of us. But I like the concept. I like the concept of a giant looking for a little person hiding from a giant. Kind of reminded me of that Panoptic game that just came out not long ago. That entire game is kind of built around this concept. But yeah, and it wasn't just the two. There was what, like 5 or 6 different rooms that you could go in and play different games.
I think there were 6 doors, 6 or 7 maybe, but one was like flying. There was like one that was I told you it was similar to Rocket League, but you were flying around with these like like a hang glider type of thing to hit the ball, and that was kind of cool. But no, I definitely enjoyed it, and for a free game, especially if you're looking for something to play between Quest and PC, this is a good one. So
Yeah, that one was kind of like soccer, but you were playing with like this floating ball and bouncing into it by hang gliding into it. That was probably my favorite one. That was a lot of fun. Um,
we got O
but
shape, or what is it? What's it called? I told you it's pretty much a ghetto version of what's that the name of this game we were just talking about?
yeah, O Shape
O
is
shape.
the game that's built around this activity.
Yeah, no, I like this one, and you can ask Scion, you can ask Gaming Science Teacher, you can even ask Wes. I kicked everybody's ass on this, so this is why I like. That's the only reason I like this one. For some reason, I was good at it. Wes is right. Was it your left arm or your right arm? You said no matter what you did, it didn't seem to want to go through there, right?
Yeah, it was my right arm, and I'm sure it had something to do with the inside out tracking. I was probably holding my arm in a blind spot. It didn't seem like I quite got the angle right, even when I had the pose down. You know, early on, you know, in its traveling to me, for some reason I kept missing it, and I couldn't get in it just right.
That was fun too. No, I definitely
Yeah.
had a good time, and it's definitely one of those things that for free, why not try it, right?
Yeah, and well, here's the good thing about it being free. You know, one of my biggest pet peeves with the Oculus ecosystem is the fact that there is no family sharing. So if you want to play a multiplayer game with someone in your family, and you have a Quest and you have a Rift, You can't, because you have to sign into your account on both. They don't allow you to have like remote play like Steam does, or family sharing like Steam does. You basically, if you want to play multiplayer on most games, you have to buy a second copy. But you kind of negate that if the game itself is free. So now all you have to have is another Oculus account. You can purchase the free game, and now all of a sudden I can sign in on my Quest. I can put anyone on my Rift, and we can play multiplayer locally, and no issues. So that is one of the biggest pluses about a game like this. And not only that, but these types of games are the type of games that my kids are just going to love to play.
Yeah, I can see your kids playing that hide and seek. Remember, how cool was it when like you were little and I was big, or vice versa, that your voice changed to like a sound like a giant or a tiny little person as well. All of a sudden Wes is like, hey, what's going on? You know, it's just really cool, man. It was funny.
Yeah, again, that's the biggest plus here is the style. It really has style, it has character, that this game, and I enjoyed the time we put in. I don't know, what did we play for, 45 minutes, maybe an hour.
Now, let me ask you this. Would you have enjoyed it as much if you had dropped like $10 for it, or $15? Because I got it for free and I loved it as a free game. I don't know if I would have been as happy paying for it. Maybe that's why it's free, right?
Yeah, that's it. It's a good free game. I mean, if you had to pay for it, maybe $5 for it. The again, these are common mini games. It's not like, I mean, it's a unique spin on all of them. You know, you've never played them quite like this. But if I had to pay for it, it would take away the option for me to play multiplayer with my family.
Yeah.
And yeah, I don't know about it as a paid title, but as a free one, 100% recommend.
Yeah, for sure.
So let's talk about a paid multiplayer title, and let's talk about one we just spoke about on our last episode, the Museum of Other Realities. I found this thing intriguing, and I said that, I've had my eye on this one for a while, but it wasn't until this past week when it came out of early access into full release, and it came into Viveport Infinity, that I actually made the leap and jumped in it last night with you. And enjoyable, right? Felt like you were in a real museum, did it not?
Yeah. What I liked about it is, like you have all these different programs that create stuff like this, and you see different things, like somebody will make a video or whatever, and you're like, oh, that looks cool. To just have them, all these different experiences, or I guess art pieces that you could go in and look around. And what was cool about this one, like you were saying, this is the best one. And you actually had different drinks, right? Like and I don't know, I guess that was the whole thing, right? If you had one, you could shrink yourself to a small. If you drank one drink, and you could make yourself big to a giant size. And I thought that was pretty cool. Like even just the artwork you were saying, in this one, when we shrunk ourselves down, everything looked different. I mean, it was the same, but different. It was a different take on it. And I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, that's kind of the whole thing with art. Art is all about perspective, and the Museum of Other Realities allows you to see every piece from different vantage points. And you can shrink yourself to miniature size or grow to giant size by drinking this infinite supply of drinks that you generate. Or if a specific piece is meant to be viewed from a specific vantage point, you can literally teleport into the art, and it'll make you change to the scale that you're supposed to be viewing it on. Very impressive, a very unique and cool idea for viewing this 3D art.
Yeah, well, how cool was it, that one art piece we were in? You were like, dude, there's a hole in the ground. And I was like, what? And so we dropped down in there, and it was a whole different level of stuff. I was like, what the hell, man? I don't know, man. This was, and you stayed in there an hour after I did, because I had to work in a couple hours. But I want to go back in and because I only touched a small fraction. That map was huge, and there's got to be so much artwork in there that is just amazing.
Yeah, it kind of goes to show you why Medium and Quill have been included with the Oculus Rift since the Oculus Touch controllers were launched. You know, everybody kind of always ho-hummed those two programs being included because I'm not going to use that. You're not going to use that. Why do we even have them? Well, now you start to see how it benefits Roots, because here we are 2 years later, and now we get to experience all this amazing art from actually in the inside out. And I think that's the coolest thing about this kind of art, is you're not staring through a window at it. The same thing I love about VR games, I'm coming to find out I also love about VR art.
Yeah, being able to go into it. How cool was that one that was like a circle and it was spinning, and like it had you stand and it would like spin around you kind of, so like you were looking through a portal that was moving and changing in the angles. I don't know, man. It was just so cool. This makes me want to go back in right now.
Yeah, it was kind of awesome, and I didn't get to see it all. That was another thing that really impressed me about it. Fairly big museum, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was huge, and it's only $20, so that's not bad. I mean, of course, it didn't cost us anything because it cost me the Infinity membership. But nah, man, if for the what you get for this is definitely worth $20, and it's huge. And like I said, I've only seen probably 3%, 4% of the museum, and we were in there probably well over an hour, I would think. So.
Yeah, we spent a lot in that one that had multiple levels just because there was so much going on in it. But when it comes to a value proposition for $20, it's a little iffy. I want to wait and see. I want to see how often they add new content to it, because that's kind of the thing here. With it just as is for $20, if it were to stay like that forever, I'm not so sure. But this is a museum, right? So I expect things to be added and subtracted. I expect this thing to change over time. And if that's the case, yeah, I think absolutely it's worth $20.
Yeah, well, only time will tell. We'll get to see if it's Weasel approved. So.
Yeah, well, it's definitely a recommend if you have Viveport Infinity. I mean, all you're spending then is your time. And unlike a lot of these, art applications in VR where you're taking in art, these guys figured it out by adding in the multiplayer aspect to it. That's really a big value added proposition for me, is the fact that I can go in with Roots and we can enjoy this stuff together.
Yeah, because you get that different perspective, and you're talking to somebody, and you're looking at it and messing around, and it just makes it a more of a pleasant experience. And, like if I'm going to go to an art museum, I don't see myself ever going by myself, Wes. That seems weird to me. That's almost as weird as going to a restaurant by yourself, even though I do that. But there's just certain things you expect to see somebody else with somebody, but.
Yeah, I think that more games and applications should take a page out of their book. Everything's more enjoyable with a friend, and especially these types of things where you're going to what is supposed to be like a physical space. Obviously, you should be able to bring friends with you. Another one of the things that really bother me about amusement park games in VR is that they're all single player. When obviously it would be so easy for them to do what they've done here and just allow you to, experience the overworld with a friend. Even if you can't do all the rides and activities together, just to be able to walk through the parks or museums with a friend and comment on what you're seeing, it really, really adds a lot to the experience.
Oh yeah, Summer Funland, dude, as a multiplayer would be so fun. Like the balloon ride, just everything would be just a lot better. So.
Yeah, that's specifically what I was thinking about. How good would Summer Funland be if you could bring friends with you?
Yeah, they need to do it.
Anyway, two great multiplayer titles that we just happened to go into because we wanted to, and turns out that they were both very rewarding experiences, and both recommended from myself and Roots alike.
Yep.
All right, so that's going to bring us to our monthly ritual here. February has gone, March is upon us, so we're going to quickly take a look back at what February brought us in terms of VR releases, and then take a look ahead at what March promises. So the game of the month, February, Roots, when we sat here a month ago and looked ahead into February, there was pretty much nothing to look at. I mean, we had a handful of confirmed releases, but not much to talk about. And we said it then, the same thing that we say every month. There's going to be surprise releases. And while some of these might not be the greatest releases in the world, we did have some releases in February, didn't we?
Yeah. We actually had a few surprises as well. So, I mean, like you said, we weren't expecting much. And we actually had quite a list of games in each category, not like last one where it was like, okay, this is what came out, and this is also what is the game of the month. So,
Right. So, yeah, in January, we didn't even break it down by platform like we normally do. We just kind of spouted off a few things because that's all there was. At least this month, there's enough for us to segregate it: PSVR, Quest, and PC VR. So let's start with PlayStation VR. We got from Visual Light on February 6th, we got Throw Anything, which, as I mentioned last month, we knew this was coming. They postponed it into February, but PSVR players been waiting on this one for quite some time, and fairly well received. I feel like the people who played this liked it, and that was our first release of the month for February. Then we got Darkness Roller Coaster, and you know, this is one that's always intrigued me because every time I look at it, this thing looks pretty cool to me. But man, the reviews are harsh on this one, Roots. People have no love for the Darkness Roller Coaster.
really, what are they saying? I haven't even seen anything about it as far as what people like or don't like about it. It says it's the best.
I'm sorry, what was that?
It just said it was the best roller coaster in the promo, so it must be, right?
Well, there you go. Rush of Blood. You might as well just pack it up and go home, because Darkness Roller Coaster takes the title.
It looks
No, people
cool.
basically just say it's a janky, broken mess. But just based on scenery alone, even if I'm not trying to shoot things and do all the other stuff they've got in here, I got to feel like it's worth a ride through just to see all this stuff, right?
Yeah, what do you think? Do you think they'll get the shooting down right? Because it does. It looks really cool. It looks it just looks different and unique, you know. And if Rush of Blood was so good, I want another roller coaster where I'm shooting shit. You know, I'd love it in PC as well, man. You know, don't limit this stuff to PlayStation, please.
Yeah, this is one of those I'd like to try for myself because, as you know, I don't always see eye to eye with these with the PSVR reviewers. Most of the time I do, but every now and then I feel like they engage in a little bit of groupthink. And when the top guys say something sucks, then everybody, it just kind of trickles down. It sucks. I'd like to try it for myself, and then if it sucks, you know, Weasel will be honest about it. And if it's good, you know, we've done it before. You know, everybody says it sucks, but we say to the contrary, it doesn't. I'll tell you that too. So this one, I'm not sure exactly how much it costs, but I'm pretty sure it's sub $10. I might pick this one up just to check it out.
Yeah, I was gonna say maybe the devs need to just throw you a key or both the key. We'll talk about it. So.
Sure. Well, sure. Which we could actually just do with one key on this because
that's right.
we have a the Virtual Strangers PSN. We could share one here.
Yeah, true. Let's do it.
Anyway, I thought this looks cool. Most people say it sucks. To be continued.
Yeah.
Then there was Bullet Sorrow, and they said this one was aptly named, Roots. That it really is a lot of bullets and a lot of sorrow. And I watched Brian Paul play through a little bit of this one. I do think that this is probably one that's best stayed away from.
What was the problem with it? Just not
Oh God, so many problems with it. Like you can't move freely across any room in it. It's kind of a wave shooter
Mm.
game, but you move through it. But like, say I wanted to teleport to the other side of the room, uh, there's a loading screen. Like there's constant loading screens. If you go over there, it has to load that section of the room.
No,
It's
that's bad.
yeah.
That's real bad. Yeah. I don't know. This doesn't look that good anyway. So, you know,
It looks like a Gen 1 indie game, and then very, very indie. Yeah, not the best game, Bullet Sorrow.
okay.
Then there was the Space Channel 5 VR. Kind of funky news flash. Roots, I think I've made my feelings pretty clear on what I think about this story driven dance game, but people seem to be loving it. What do you think?
This needs to be a Wes, because I said so special, because you've been emphatic about this game and your thoughts. But what's funny is I legitimately have seen people that I respect in the PlayStation field that say, "Oh man, I played this back in the day, and this is amazing." And I'm like, "Are you really?" Like, because it just looks so ridiculous. But there's something to this game. People are excited about it, and people that have played it in the past were really excited about it. So it makes me, I don't know that I want to try it per se, but I do want to see what more about it. I don't know, man. Maybe I will
Yeah,
dance with
well,
aliens. It's got a story too, man. So
well, that's the thing. I mean, it does have that saving grace. At least there is some story here. Here's the other cool thing about this. It launched with a free demo, so we can try it out and see at least what the game's all about if we choose to do so.
yeah, I might have to check that out, man. Because who doesn't want to dance it up? I mean, I like the outfits, but other than that, it's definitely, man. This is such a bizarre looking game, dude. It intrigues me from that standpoint. I want to know what kind of story could possibly fit into this game to make sense. So.
Yeah, well, maybe we'll check it out. I am pretty close to dusting off the PSVR and jumping back in. We'll talk about that a little later in the show. So maybe when I get back in the PSVR, I'll check this one out as well. And on a side note, that used to piss me off so bad when people would talk about dusting off the PSVR and getting back into it. And now here I am, Roots. It's been probably 2 months since I put my PSVR on.
Yeah, I haven't touched mine for probably about as long, and I know we're both going to because we're going to be going into racers and stuff. So I have to go back into it. And I don't know why I avoid it. I guess I avoid it just because of it's got to be the headset, right? Because it's just not as good as the other ones. Once PSVR 2 comes out, then it'll be amazing.
Well, I mean, with me, it's always been about the games with PlayStation VR, and to be honest, there just haven't been any damn releases for it. Everything's been ports that I can play on PC, and the PC headset has better visuals now than it did a year ago. So I have no need to go in and play these ports on PlayStation VR now. Case in point. Normally we say, okay, when we do these month in review type things like we're doing here, we say, okay, we're only going to, this isn't everything that's come out on the platform. These are just the ones we picked. We always say that. This is everything that came out this month. This PSVR list I'm giving you, these 5 games, this is all that came out on PSVR this month.
Yeah, they're definitely hungry in the PlayStation world for sure.
Man. And that brings us to the 5th and final PSVR release of the month. A surprise, out of nowhere release of Freediver Triton Down from Archaeact. Not a lot to say here that we haven't said already, Roots. This is a phenomenal experience, albeit short. A AAA story-driven game with such an innovative locomotion style. This isn't one to be missed.
No, for sure. And immersion is definitely there. And if you want to be upside down, capsized in a sinking ship and feel like you're about to die and need to get out, this is the game to make you feel like you need to get the fuck out of there. For me anyway, it really did. Many times I thought, man, I need to get to some air here. Very stressful.
Yeah, that's kind of the thing with this game, right? It's all about breathing. You know, you think it's about the maze that you're trying to navigate, but really it's all just about, you know, don't drown. Don't forget to breathe, right?
Yeah. Yep. That's it.
Anyway, there we have it, folks. 5 releases, the only 5. You know, listen, PSVR guys, I'm with you. It's a wonderful platform, but I've seen so much denial about the state of PSVR from those people. It's a slow time. It's okay for it to be a slow time. We understand why. You know, it's coming. Next year is going to be a PSVR year, but we need to understand here and be honest. Slim pickings in PSVR land, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Anyway, the game of the month for PSVR, you know, most people would probably say the Space Channel 5 because that was their big AAA $40 game. Not in my world, Roots. I got to be honest with the people here and speak my mind. It's got to be Freediver for me. What about you?
Yeah, I would have to agree. You know, out of those, I mean, I haven't tried Space Channel 5. I don't know what the story is. Like I said, people swear by it. They rave by it. I can only go by what I've played, and Freediver was just so good. I'd say hands down, it was the best of the 5 for sure. Either that or Darkness Roller Coaster, but no, just kidding. You know, I feel like Darkness Roller Coaster has a chance. Maybe they'll unjank it, Wes, and we'll be raving about it 6 months from now.
Maybe we will. So let's do this then, because we often, you know, we don't get to play all these games, and so we often base our game of the month on what other people say and what other people think about it. So we're going to give it to Freediver, obviously, because it's such a great game, and we know that. But we often pick a runner-up. And what that means is at the end of the year, when we look back at the PlayStation VR Game of the Year, we won't just look at what we picked for the Game of the Month. We also look at the runners-up or the special mentions. So we'll give Space Channel 5 a special mention this month. It might turn out to be a very good game and a very popular one at that. So at the end of the year, when we go back to look at February, we'll allow Space Channel 5 to be on the list.
Yeah.
So, Game of the Month, Freediver, runner-up, Space Channel 5, VR. Kind of funky newsflash.
How classic would it be if you tried it, and this time next month you were like, I fucked up, Space Channel 5, the funky, whatever the hell you just said. It was the best game, hands down. I should have never questioned it. The story brought it all together. Yeah, it's probably not going to happen. But
well, here's a little bit of the truth for you. The fact is that VR has allowed me to enjoy so many genres that I didn't enjoy on a flat screen. So I've come to realize over time that you shouldn't just discount anything in VR without trying it first. And so it absolutely could. I could get in there and start dancing and realize, find a part of myself that I didn't know existed, Roots.
Yeah, I want to see it.
Nobody wants to see that. Okay, and now that's going to bring us to the Oculus Quest. And as weak of a month as PSVR had, I'd say it's just the opposite with Oculus Quest. Wouldn't you, Roots, that the Oculus Quest had a pretty solid month?
Oh yeah, hands down. Which is kind of funny because, like I was saying, the PC looks just as, but whenever you have a new platform, it's a lot easier for stuff to port over, right?
Yeah. Oculus Quest definitely the winner this year. First of all, they got O Shape, which was a title that you referenced a moment ago. You know, I always kind of thought of this as just being a fitness app without really looking at it to see what it actually is. But this thing actually looks pretty fun. Definitely something to get you moving, right?
Yeah, it looks like something your kids, like you were saying earlier, would really like. And I was watching one of the videos a little while ago, and it was it the cha-cha slide or something, man? And they were doing the, clap your hands and coming in and with those things, and the beat was so good. It just looks like it actually looks like a different I hate to say it, a different rhythm game that is fun, right? Like it has something different to it. You're trying to go through these shapes and you're trying to hit these things all to the music. It's pretty cool. I liked it, and I haven't played it,
Yeah,
but it looks cool.
I hate to say it, but when it comes to the rhythm games, I've actually seen a few new ones lately that don't look bad. I mean, they look like Beat Saber, they look like Audica, but they look polished and good, and they look different enough to warrant a look.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it doesn't hurt that it's got a attractive chick in here. This preview for me either, but no, it looks good, man. I almost want to do O shape now. I'll have to pick it up.
Yeah, yeah. It looks like something I'd play for about 10 minutes and go, holy shit, my legs hurt. I'm not doing that anymore.
Well, you
As much as this chick in these shorty shorts makes me want to go out and buy it.
well, what's cool about this is that you can play multiplayer against other people. I watched Zim and his wife do it on one of his streams, and so I think that'd be pretty cool too, right? Going up against your wife, and this is one that she could well, yeah, she could do it right with her arm. Could she twist it? Maybe
danger
not.
zone, Roots.
Yeah.
Danger. We've got to keep that stable for a couple more weeks at least.
Yeah, this is not the time to start messing with it, right?
You know what the good thing about putting these kind of chicks in VR commercials are as well is they could be a total butterface, and you're sliding that. It's like a virtual paper bag you're sliding over there, right?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you're right. Who knows what's going on behind there? Sometimes have you ever
She
seen?
might have her eyeballs might be going off like this.
I was just about to say, have you ever seen like that chick at the beach or something? And man, you're like, man, she's so fine, and she turns around, takes her glasses off, and you're like, whoa, what the? And it doesn't even have to be eyes; it could just be something that's weird in the facial features, and you're just like, nah, man. It's kind of like the bald guy that turns around at the convenience store. And he's got that weird fucking cone head or whatever. Like, nah, man. Not happening.
Back to VR.
Yeah.
O-Shape wasn't it. We also got Ghost Giant, a former PlayStation VR exclusive from way back when PSVR was winning last year. An excellent title, and from all accounts, an excellent port onto the Oculus Quest.
Yeah, this is a game I want to play. I'm kind of hoping comes to PC because I want to play this game. I didn't play the full thing through, and I only didn't play the whole thing through because of what you said with all the weird shit with the tracking, and you're moving, and you're like, it was like you were fighting against something in the PlayStation VR. I want to Oculus Quest it up or PC VR it up. So
yeah, I watched PD play this not long ago. Paradise Decay did a very good video on it, and it looked like an excellent port. It looked like it ported perfectly in the Oculus Quest, and like you said, full freedom of movement, no weird tracking jank with this one like you got with the PSVR.
yeah, and that's the thing. That's the only thing that's holding the PlayStation VR. I think that's the main thing that keeps me out of it most of the time is thinking about running into tracking issues, which doesn't happen all the time, but I've had such Ghost Giant experiences at different times that I'm traumatized, Wes. I need to get over it.
Anyway, a story-driven third-person diorama game here, environmental puzzler, absolutely high-quality title here, and one of the better releases of 2019, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, for sure.
And then we had one we already spoke about, Freediver Triton Down. Already fun to be able to swim around Roots, but be able to do it in without the tether, just another degree of freedom. Yeah. 7 degrees of freedom with the Oculus Quest, Roots.
Yeah, I'm kind of jealous of all those Quest people getting to do that for sure. I mean, was it that much different for you as well, right? Did you like it?
I mean, honestly, the experience was very similar. This game, the locomotion style is a very freeing thing as it is already. So if I'm being totally honest, the tether really isn't that big of a deal with it. But as far as the Quest port goes, this was the version that I tried, and excellent job porting it over. Obviously, not quite as pretty as the PC version, but certainly sufficient, and one of the very few immersive adventures on Oculus Quest. So again, a very good title.
Yeah.
And then to round out the month, 11 table tennis. You know, Roots, I always want to, I enjoy table tennis. I like the ping pong, and I still haven't tried any real ping pong games out. And I always kind of thought Racket Fury was the one, but to hear people talk about 11, I think 11 might be it.
Yeah, the physics look really good. You know, I played a lot of ping pong growing up, and I like it. So, I mean, if you could get a game to where it just feels real and right, I think it's awesome.
Yeah, this one certainly looks more realistic than the Racket Fury. I guess what it's going to come down to for me is which one has the better multiplayer features, because obviously you're not going to want to sit and play the computer constantly. You want to test yourself against other people. That's the whole fun of playing a game like ping pong. So I got to imagine with a lot of people staying indoors these days, games like this are a blessing, right?
Yeah. Yeah, especially with the coronavirus. Don't want to get sick playing ping pong, doing VR.
Ping pong?
Yeah, ping pong.
Ping pong. Anyway, game of the month, Oculus Quest Roots. This one kind of difficult for me. Two outstanding titles for Oculus Quest this month. So I guess what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring it down to weaknesses. And Freediver has one weakness that Ghost Giant doesn't have, Roots, and that is it's only an hour long, or 90 minutes in the case of the extended cut. Ghost Giant, a good solid 5 to 6 hour campaign. I'm going Ghost Giant this month. What about you?
Yeah, me too. For the same reason. Both really good games, but Ghost Giant is just a little bit more of a complete package as far as, you know, full-fledged adventure, 6 hours, you know.
Yeah, and what a month for Quest. You know that they have a limit on how many of these, you know, story-driven adventures that they have. There aren't very many of them. To get two top quality AAA experiences like that in 1 month, February was very kind to Quest, right?
Yeah, spoiled bastards. Well, next to the PlayStation VR guys, that's what they're thinking. That's not what Roots is thinking. That's what they're thinking. If you want to get mad at them, that's fine.
All right, so we're going to go Ghost Giant for the Oculus Quest Game of the Month, and we're going to put Freediver down as the runner-up. Can't go wrong either way, right?
Yeah, I agree.
All right, and that brings us to PC VR. An interesting month for PC VR. Some of the stuff we knew was coming, others we didn't. Some strange games. One might even say bizarre.
Yeah, super bizarre.
And that brings us to our first release, Bizarre Barber from Synesthetic Echo. Came out on February 26th. We kind of made fun of this game last month, Roots, when we were looking forward to February, because, you know, there wasn't a whole lot to look at. And from what I can tell, people are having fun playing this, man.
To each their own. I don't know, man. I don't know that I've changed my opinion. I'd have to try it first to really change my opinion on this one. You know, the only thing this one has going for it is it's colorful. You know, it's not even fast enough to really be like, it's just going so slow, you know, like, is that right? That's just, to me, it's just bizarre.
It is very bizarre. And the good thing about this, as with most games of this sort, you can play it on Viport. So if we want to try it out, we can, right?
Yeah, I think maybe we should, just so we know how good it is.
Yeah. I mean, look at that. Look at that thing.
Look at her pants, dude. Every time I see this trailer, I just, her pants are so, I don't know. I don't even know what they are, but yeah.
Anyway, that brings us to another bizarre game, Smush.tv. This is an interesting concept, Roots. It's a asymmetrical multiplayer game where the VR player is kind of inside this game of Tetris, and the object for the VR player is to climb to the top. And then all the meanwhile, outside of the game, there's someone playing on a flat monitor trying to squish or smush rather, the VR player. It's the non-VR player can only attack on rhythm with the music, and you can port your own tracks into the game. So definitely one here that I want to try out. For the record, Roots and I tried to play this over Steam Remote Play recently and had some difficulty getting the game started. But hopefully at some point in the future, we're going to get to try this one out because I think it looks really cool and fun.
Yeah, I think we spent an hour trying to get it to work, and I was frustrated. But yeah, it definitely, if we can get it working the way it's supposed to, I think it'll be amazing. You know, the biggest problem is it's really designed for playing with people in the same room with you versus over the internet. So, you know, I mean, if I had somebody sitting right here, it would have been no issue. It's just the fact we were trying to do it in a way that we just didn't understand. So,
yeah. Obviously, we were doing something wrong. I've reached out to the developer to get some instruction of how to connect up over remote play because this is the online feature of this game. Really, there is no online feature of this game. You have to play it through the Steam Remote Play feature, which is outside of the game. And for some reason, I couldn't get out of local. It kept wanting to put me into a local game, which worked perfectly. I mean, I could sign right in with my controller and my headset. But obviously, we were doing something wrong. The developer said that they're going to create a post, probably on their Discord, probably on Steam, to explain to people how to do this correctly. They also sent me a video of how to connect up. So hopefully, next time we get in there, Roots, we can connect up and play.
smush it up.
Smush it up. Smush it down.
Yeah.
Smush it all around. And the cool thing about it is I can put some Slayer in here and we can play, or some Clutch, and we can play to some actual good music for a change.
Taylor Swift.
Taylor Swift, yeah. Yeah, Gangnam Style.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like Gangnam Style.
Yeah.
All right, the next release we're going to talk about was actually a surprise release this month. Soul Axiom, rebooted from Wells Interactive. This one just kind of fell into our laps, Roots. We heard it was coming one day. Within a week, we had it. And this was a flat game, a puzzle game, cyberpunk, story-driven puzzle adventure. Brought into VR, rebuilt from the ground up with new visuals, brought into VR. Haven't got a chance to play this one yet, but man, I think this thing looks pretty cool.
Yeah, I forgot about it actually, but yeah, it looks really cool. Haven't had a chance to check it out either. So
yeah, a lot of people, you know, when I'm reading VR reviews on it, people being critical of the fact that it isn't it doesn't play like a built from the ground up VR experience. It's more of kind of like a gamepad game, the way it plays. But I've played a lot of games like that, so that really isn't a negative to me. And so far as I can tell, it's the only thing people are criticizing on it. They say the puzzles are really good, really clever, and that there's lots of them, a lot of gameplay here.
yeah, why can't people just enjoy VR games that are gamepad? Like, why does it have to be built from the ground up to be enjoyable? Like, I enjoy Resident Evil, you know, Alien Isolation, you know, or any game that's, I don't know, man. It just, to me, it just seems weird.
Yeah. Well, some people, when they think virtual reality, they think simulation, and they just can't get behind the concept of playing a video game from the inside, but it's still being a video game.
Yeah.
But, to each their own. They don't have to like it. Only I have to like it. And this is one that I'm definitely interested in. Price tag that doesn't break the bank. I think this thing's like $12. So yeah, definitely one I'm looking forward to checking out.
Cool.
Then we have one that I actually did get a chance to play in Scraper Gauntlet. It is the dreaded wave shooter Roots, but to be honest, as far as wave shooters go, this one highly polished with a lot of room to advance your character and your weapons. As far as wave shooters go, this one's a pretty solid one.
Yeah, so I guess the whole thing is the being able to modify your guns how you want them. Is that like the draw?
Yeah, you gain points as you clear the rounds, and you spend those points, kind of like the progression in Borderlands 2, the character progression. Only it's not just for your character; it's for your weapons as well.
Cool.
Yeah, very cool. High paced action wave shooter, but again, a wave shooter. So, if you're one of these people that just can't stand wave shooters anymore, then you might want to steer clear. But if you like to shoot the way I like to shoot, priced accordingly. I think this is another one that's like 10 or 12 bucks. Not an expensive game, and fun.
Yeah.
And then we come to Silicon Rising, another shooting-based game, but not just all about the shooting. That's what they say, Roots. There's some driving, some other things. Another one of these games that is a lot of glitz, a lot of shine, a pretty game, but from what I'm reading, it has a ways to go in terms of gameplay. There's a lot of room for improvement here. Did you read any of the reviews? Have you checked anything out about this since it released?
No, I didn't. There's another one that I saw was coming out, and I thought, wow, this looks amazing. And then it just kind of disappeared into my dust, I guess. I don't know. So you're saying it's not received very well?
I'm saying it's mixed reviews, and the good thing about this is it's kind of like with Seeking Dawn. It's an early access game, and they've kind of released a roadmap for it for improvements. So this game is a work in progress. So while it's not perfect yet, this isn't the final version. This is a game that's going to continue to be improved over time, and I see a lot of potential with it. I, for one, enjoy cyberpunk. I, for one, enjoy arcade style games, and that's what you have here.
Yeah, it could be good.
All right, man. It's a rough one. It's hard to pick a game of the month out of these 5. So much potential here. I'm going to go with Soul Axiom Rebooted, to be quite honest. When it comes down to it, a lot of game here for not a lot of money, and probably the most polished out of the 5 games. What do you say?
I have to agree. I mean, it was a toss-up between this and Bizarre Barber, but this one looks like a game that I actually might enjoy playing. So I kind of leaned that way. But no, this one looks good. It looks really good, actually. So
yeah, and to be quite honest, I really wish we could have got in and played Smush, because I think there's a lot of potential there. But a game like Smush It All depends on the gameplay, and it could be a cool concept on paper, but if it isn't implemented right, then I can't honestly sit here without playing it and call it the game of the month. So yeah, we're going to call it Soul Axiom Rebooted this month, and no runner-up, just Soul Axiom Rebooted for the game of the month, PCVR. Final answer. All right, Roots, now comes the fun part. It's time to look ahead. And looking ahead into March, a completely different experience than a month ago when we were looking ahead into February, right?
yeah, it's like you look at so many games in last month and you were like, man, there ain't shit coming out. As a matter of fact, a lot of them we didn't even know, but the list that we see coming out now, I'd say almost every single one I want to try, to some extent. So
well, there's a reason for that, and the reason being is it absolutely is true here that this isn't everything that we know is coming in March. I actually just picked the highlights for March, and we've got 7 pretty banging ass titles here, and I want to play every one of them. And we're going to start with the Room VR, A Dark Matter. We've talked about this for many times, many different. I mean, there aren't many weeks that go by that we haven't said something on this game, right?
yeah. As a matter of fact, there's been a few weeks that I've been doing the thumbnail and for like the Sunday show or whatever, and I can't use the room again. We just did that last week, because it just keeps coming up in the news, and it just looks good.
Well, its days are, as a part of our content are numbered, Roots, because March 26th for all platforms, the Room VR Dark Matter coming out. This is a story-based escape the room game based on a very popular mobile franchise. It looks high quality, Roots. It looks cool. It takes place in the early part of the 20th century. It looks like you're going to have to solve a mystery. And it looks like the mystery itself is a dark matter.
Yeah, looks good. I'm looking forward to it.
And yeah, me too. And that brings us to another one that I pretty much am drooling at the prospect of, and that is Lies Beneath. We just found out about this one, Roots, last week. This was coming from Drifter Entertainment, the people who brought us Gunheart. And this is a survival horror game, first-person shooter survival horror game based on classics like Silent Hill and Resident Evil. Kind of a comic booky art style. Coming to Quest on March 31st. Coming to PC VR 2 weeks later. Roots, I cannot wait for this one.
For a game that I didn't even know existed this time last week, this is one of my most anticipated games of the month. Next to obviously the biggest one. But no, this one looks amazing, and it's the art style and just the, like we said last week, the pedigree of the developers, you know, there's some good people, and I know there's a couple of Halo people. I mean, they know what they're doing. And, so I'm excited to see what they're going to do with this completely different genre that it's completely different than their last game, but it looks amazing.
Yeah, it does look amazing. And if that everything you said wasn't enough, this is coming from Oculus Studios. How many bad games have we had coming from Oculus Studios?
Not many. Even the bad games are still good. Like, you know, Marvel Powers, people bitched about that, but what a polished game. And really was just the whole politics of Marvel and trying to put a specific type of game that nobody wanted. I think this is going to be a banger, man. I think it's going to be amazing.
Yeah, I agree. And I can't wait to try it out. March 31st on Oculus Quest. And another one that's we're likely to be talking about at this time next month. Not only as we look back at March, but as we look ahead into April.
Yeah.
That brings us to the PlayStation VR. And finally, some relief for the PSVR community, because Separation, a game that was supposed to come out in February but got pushed back, set to come out today, Roots. Actually, some conflict. I've read different sources. Some of them say coming out on the 3rd. Some of them say coming out on the 4th. So either today or tomorrow, this game hits the PlayStation Store. Most likely today. Most games come out on Tuesday. A game I've been looking forward to for a while, Roots, and even though it is a bit of a walking sim, it's also a bit of an enigma, something that draws me. It looks strange, Roots, and I like strange.
Did you pick it up already, or can you get it pre-order or no?
I don't think you can get this one on pre-order, but I am going to pick it up. I'm quite certain. I've been looking for a reason to get back into my PlayStation VR, and with Separation, I think I've found the reason.
Yeah, absolutely.
Anyway, be on the lookout for this one, today, and we'll be talking about it on an upcoming episode, because I do think I am going to pick this one up. It really looks cool to me. And while we're at it here, I want to talk about another game that's supposed to be coming to PlayStation VR, that being Paper Beast. This is the big AAA release of the quarter for PlayStation VR. Still no release date for Paper Beast, but this one was revealed recently as targeted for Q1, quarter one of the year. And by default, that makes it a March release now, doesn't it?
Has to. Yeah, otherwise it squeezes into quarter two. So,
right, exactly. So Q1 ends with March, and this is a Q1 game, so logic would deduce that we should be getting Paper Beast this month. Another one I'm interested to check out, Roots. I'm not quite sure where I'm going to fall on it. I'd like to know how much is it going to cost, first of all? And I keep going back and forth on it. It looks like an intriguing world. My whole question is the story going to have enough meat to it to keep me engaged for hours to play through the entire campaign? But as far as the look and sound aspect goes, this is a beautiful looking game, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah, and I guess it really does depend on the price. Because like $20, I don't even think I would be worried about how long it is. It'd be worth it to go in there. Anything more than that, you know, it better, like you said, have an engaging story, and something that wants to hold me in. But I think it will. I think it'll do well. I think it'll be good.
Yeah, yeah. I'm kind of in that same mindset. I'm down for $20, 25 maybe. If you're gonna try to charge 30 for it, I'm gonna wait and see.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
All right, Roots. Already some great releases for March, but it just keeps going, man, because Down the Rabbit Hole's coming on March 26th. You know, another one of these we've talked about a bunch on our channel. I love these types of games, Roots. I love these dreamlike worlds that you get to visit when you go into VR sometimes. And I love third person experiences in VR. This one looks very colorful, looks very beautiful. A lot to like here.
Yeah, I like the fact that it's takes place in a storyland that we already are familiar with, but like as a prequel, so there's no predestined things. I mean, obviously we know some things aren't, you know, the Mad Hatter's not going to just suddenly die if he's in there, or, you know, there's some things we can know. But I don't know. I just think it's exciting. I want to go into this world and see it, you know, so that's my biggest draw. And I think the gameplay looks amazing as well.
Yeah, I agree. It looks like a lot of the things I like about Moss are present in this game, but so much more. You know, you have the switching viewpoint in this game from first person to third person. You have a much more surreal, dreamlike environment, as I mentioned before, which is something I always love. And yeah, I think that this is going to be one of the sleepers of the year. And hopefully it's as good as I think it's going to be.
Yeah.
All right, and then comes a lesser known title that we just spoke about on our last episode, Hyper Wheel Overdrive. Simply put, this looks like To the Top meets Twisted Metal, and it looks like basically fast and frantic fun, right?
Yeah, I just like the fact that you're flipping around and going up ramps and jumping and upside down and shooting, and it just looks like there's just chaos going on, and I like it.
Yeah, it very much looks like a Gen 1 VR game, a Gen 1 indie game, but it looks like one of the good ones. It doesn't look like super jank like some of these games look. This one just looks fun, and it looks like there's a lot of variability, not only to the gameplay, 10 different game modes, mind you, but a lot of variability to your car, which can become a plane or a boat or God knows what else. This just looks fun. And sometimes games don't have to look super beautiful and AAA graphics to be fun. And this just looks like one of those that's just fun.
Yep. So I can't wait.
All right. So that's going to wrap up the games of the month for March, right, Roots? A banging month. 6 solid titles that you can't go wrong with, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And there's only 6 because you, like you said earlier, you know, you went through and you selectively picked only the good ones and left out all the shit.
Right.
So.
Right. I'm not going to just put any old shit in our games of the month for March. Only the best in a month like March. And I think these 6 titles, I mean, can you think of anything that's better than these games?
No, especially Bizarre Barber, dude. Like, there's a game out there better than Bizarre Barber that we didn't talk about coming out for PC VR, then yeah, we're screwed.
I mean, there was that one that we, what was it? They dropped like 20 minutes of footage yesterday. What was it called?
Yeah, I think it had to do with I don't know. Jarillo likes this series.
Okay, all right. Enough's enough. Half-Life Alyx is coming out this month. Roots D-Day is upon us, and to be quite honest, Uh, I was kind of feeling the hype a little bit, but not really until now. When I saw all this new footage, I watched it and then I watched it again. Man, Roots, this is going to be the game of games, isn't it?
Yeah, man. Everything about this, like, I was watching this and I was trying to put myself in a flat gamers mode of somebody that is getting ready to play this, and was kind of apprehensive. Saw the trailer, thought, nah, it looks good, but maybe it's going to be one of those experiences like all the other movie experiences or game experiences, the big ones that come out that suck. And then got blown away because I watched this footage and it blew me away. I'm like, oh my God. Now, one thing I will say, I was looking in the Reddits, man, people were freaking out already. Oh, this is teleport only. And like it's like they didn't know the tested video was out. It's like they didn't watch the 9 minutes of footage that specifically switched over to smooth locomotion halfway through. It was weird, man. People want to freak out. I've even seen people after watching the footage, they've said, I hope it's implemented well. And I'm thinking, you just watched it. Like, I don't know, man. I don't know.
Yeah, people are weird when it comes to their simulation fantasies with VR. Look, obviously the teleport is just an option. They showed it switching over to the smooth locomotion seamlessly, I might add. But let's play devil's advocate here, and let's say it were true and it were teleport only. This teleport, it looks pretty damn solid, doesn't it?
Yeah, well, and you know what somebody said earlier, and it's not teleport only, and I know why people are freaking out, the purists or whatever, but imagine you're somebody. Somebody on Reddit, and it just was perfect. They said, I used to bitch about wanting every game in locomotion until I tried VR, and now I want teleport. Because, or however they phrased it. Basically, they figured out they don't have VR legs. They get sick. So all we have to do is really put ourselves in the position of somebody that gets sick, man. And then you realize, okay, teleport needs to exist. And like you said, it's a badass teleport. It looks phenomenal. And I'm with you. I'd like a mix. I want to be able to do both at the same time. And because I think it will make fighting a lot easier than trying to run behind the wall as these crabs are jumping in your face,
Yeah, absolutely. I always prefer the smooth locomotion, but at the end of the day, this game looks so good that even if it were forced teleportation, I still think it's probably going to be the best game we've ever played, right?
Yeah. Everything about it, the story, that was one of the things you and I were talking about before we filmed. Just the comedy of it, like, as the guy's telling her that, she asks about the syringe, that she finds and asks if it's poisonous, and he asks if there's skull and crossbones on it, and she says no, and he's like, yeah, it's probably not, it's just funny. It's you can tell it's got the same humor as the original Half-Life, and it looks good.
Yeah, everything about this game looks like it has the standards and level of quality that Valve has become known for, and that in itself is an exciting prospect. You know, I've kind of debated going back and forth whether or not I'm going to play Half-Life 2 before I play Half-Life Alyx, but upon watching this, I don't think I am, Roots. I think I want this to be my first experience in the Half-Life universe.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you. A lot of people, they feel like you need to have that story. You need to finish episode 2 so that you can seamlessly move into this storyline. And to be honest, I don't give a fuck, man. I just want to play it. I want to experience the story from where it's at and go forward. I don't care about the past. It doesn't matter what Alex was doing before. I know what's going on now that matters to Roots.
Well, here's the thing with this game. I only have one really big concern about this game, and that is I think that this 12-hour campaign is going to go by like that. I think that before you know it, this thing's going to be over with, and I'm going to be left like, oh, no, I want more. Well, at least now, if I don't play the Half-Life 2 beforehand, and I really want more, like really badly, that's something I can do afterwards, right? Everything about this just looks phenomenal. The real world interactions. It looks like, first of all, everything that's good about Boneworks, they took. Like the world, it has that sharpness and immersion level like Boneworks has, and they have just enough of the physics to again make the game very immersive, but not so much that it's going to bog you down with getting through doors and doing menial tasks.
No, I like one of my favorite things about watching these videos is just the gunplay and just crafting that gun and that sight. Does that sight not look badass? Like not only does it give you the scope and be able to see, but it highlights the enemy's weak points. And so the person's shooting their legs and blowing them up and shit. And I just think it's cool, man. I love being able to craft my own weapons, kind of like you said, Scraper Gauntlet. You know, that's why as I'm looking at the Scraper Gauntlet, I was literally thinking of this game. You know, I want the story and the action as well as the shooting. This has everything, doesn't it? I mean, it's just amazing.
Yeah, and on a different note, could you imagine playing this right here with smooth locomotion? How much more difficult this would be for this person? You see how they're kind of skipping behind all of the cover. I imagine if you're trying to run around in here, it's going to be a lot harder.
Yeah, so I'm going to find that out, Wes, because I'm one of those people that if I
Me
can
too.
do it, just full locomotion, I want to do it.
Yeah, me too. But it's nice to have the option, right?
Yeah, no, it's good. It's good to have options for everything, and you know, I would rather it be like I said, like Gunheart or Doom VFR or something where you can teleport and locomote at the same time. Let me choose what, you know, in real time what I need to be doing, you know, because it's funny, man. People they'll say, man, it's not realistic. You got floating hands, brah. You know, you're teleporting around, but my magnet hands, that's totally normal. That's real life, you know.
Yeah, right.
At some point, either you suspend belief or you don't. And like I,
But dude, she's wearing gloves, so that obviously explains the magnet
oh
hands.
yeah, yeah, it's true. That's true. Well, and the floating hands, you know, I don't know, man. I just don't I don't think that far ahead. I would rather not have the inverse kinematics in my face with the weird janky arms. You know, Valve obviously knows what the devs of Boneworks didn't know, that you shouldn't have those arms in there, you know? So,
Right. Well, so yeah, you know, another thing that I've noticed when it comes to this, obviously, the locomotion looks great. The graphics and sound are just friggin' phenomenal. The lighting, unbelievable. You know, I always kind of got a vibe from that first trailer that this might be kind of have horror elements to it. Dude, this looks like a full-on sci-fi horror game. I mean, it doesn't look like it has horror parts. It looks like the whole deal is going to be pretty intense, right?
yeah, that's what somebody said in the Discord, and it really resonated with me today. They said that this game looks like it's could be nightmare inducing. You know, like for the wrong, like for Scion. You know, I know he doesn't play zombie games because of how his dreams get very vivid. He's a very vivid dreamer. And this would be something that I might second guess myself if I thought I'd be facing those face crabs. You know, there's something creepier than average with those things. Like as you see these people attacking you, they've got those fucking things that are on their heads, man. And now I'm thinking if that thing gets on my head, I become that thing. I don't want to become that thing, Wes. And that's creepy as hell, man. I think it's gonna freak a lot of people out. And
Yeah, it's got similar creep factor to something like The Last of Us. I don't know if you've played that, but the creatures in that game, their brains are infected with cordyceps mushrooms, and they're very similar to these head crab uh, uh, people that you're fighting in this. Um, did you notice that there's a lot of emphasis on throwing and catching in this game? It seemed like more than any other game I've ever seen, that they're placing a really heavy emphasis on that. And if you think about it, it actually makes a lot of sense. If you're trying to immerse a player in a world, being able to do stuff like that, it builds the immersion, right? It makes you feel not only kind of like a Superman badass, but like you're actually there grabbing real objects.
Yeah. Well, not only that, but like you see in this video here, the person's using the like the trash can lid and different things to try to draw out the crab, trying to like get him to jump out. And so that's kind of interesting in that respect as well, using it for, you know, to draw enemies out. So and then they throw that the tanker at the one, and it throws it back at him. And that was kind of
Yeah.
surprising to me as well. I was like, yeah, that's crazy, right?
Yeah, it makes you feel like that these alien life forms that you're fighting up against here, that they're not just animalistic. They have some intelligence as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's really cool. I really have, you know, I really hope this game lives up to the build up, because I've built it up to be this thing in my head that like it's going to be by far the best game I've ever played. And honestly, Roots, I think it is. From what I'm looking like here, it looks like it's going to be a 12-hour, you know, cinema level sci-fi epic. But you know, you're not just watching; you're participating, and it does not look like it's going to be easy to get through.
Do you think it looks a little bit like a walking sim? No, I'm just kidding. This is definitely not a walking sim, but now this is hands down looks like it's going to be the best game. Even this, like he puts a little bucket over that camera's head, you know, just little shit, you know. It made
Right.
me really psyched to try it.
Attention to detail, not only with the physical world and the gameplay, but with absolutely everything. A different standard. And again, that's what people keep telling us about the Valve games, is that they have a different standard. And I mean, just look at this lighting in here, Roots, the shadows, and everything looks perfect. I mean, it almost looks ray traced, doesn't it?
That's exactly what I was going to say. Is I saw somebody say that earlier, and it made me think. Yeah, it does. It looks very like it's been ray traced, or the ray trace technology for sure.
Sure as fuck don't look like a VR game. Looks like a AAA flat game, doesn't it?
Nah, that's why I think it's going to blow everybody away. You know, all these people coming into VR, even the peanuts, the packing peanuts, man, the way that it explodes and they go flying everywhere. It's just done very well, man.
So obviously the environments are very interactive and searchable environments, which, you know me, I love that. This is automatically going to go from a 12 to a 16-hour experience based on the fact that I can search through trash cans on my way through the game, because I'll look through every one of them. That's how I am. Um, do you think that these environments themselves are going to be very big, like, or do you think it's going to be like a pretty linear experience?
That's a good question. You know, like even the original Half-Life games were open, but they were linear at the same time. Or at least the bit of Half-Life 2 I played. So it doesn't look like you have many options as far as which directions you can be going, but I don't know. So
Yeah, that's the way it looks to me too. It looks like it's going to be like The Walking Dead Saints and Sinners, where you're in this very highly interactive and searchable environment with lots of little things that you can look through. But you know, this is the path. Don't stray too far.
yeah, I don't necessarily need a huge open world. But that's where I was right here is where he shoots the weak spots. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's an awesome touch. I mean, the fact that you can see it with that scope that he just crafted, or she rather just crafted, pretty awesome concept. And again, look at how realistic the environment looks here. I mean, we haven't seen anything. I mean, the only thing that compares to this in VR that I've played is Boneworks, but there's so much more detail here than in Boneworks. Boneworks is pretty bare bones, to be quite honest. Whereas this is a fully fleshed out, you know, post-apocalyptic world that they've managed to create here.
How good do you think this lighting looks? I mean, it looks amazing now, but in VR, it's just gonna be phenomenal.
Yeah, and now you see why people are running out with their G notes trying to buy Valve indexes all of a sudden, because they know, that they know what this is going to be. Uh, and to be honest, it's a little bit poetic, right? You should have listened to us last year when we told you to get headsets, because now it's too late, guys. Now
Yeah,
you don't get one.
that's classic. You were just saying that, before we started filming, all these people now they see this trailer and they're like, "Oh my god," and they're rushing out to buy headsets that don't exist out there. And they're going to get stuck with the Cosmos or the Windows mixed reality, which, they'll work. They're just not going to be indexed. And all these flat gamers, they pride themselves for having the best, and they're not going to be able to. The index isn't out there, and the second best Rift, it's not out there. So,
Honestly, even if those guys get stuck with the worst headsets that we have, I think this game is going to be so good. And, as a first VR experience, something like this would be so impactful. I mean, how could you go back to a monitor, even on a Cosmos? How could you go back to gaming on a monitor after playing something like this?
well, the only way I could do it would be if there was no other good games like this coming out because that's the thing is, like, no matter how good each game is, if there's not another one behind it, um, there's on flat games, they're just one after another, bam, 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 and so hopefully we'll get to that point where it's just all AAA.
Well, even today, we've got 5 solid ones from the last 6 months that we could throw at them.
True.
And I mean, honestly, we could go 20 deep if it isn't all about graphics. I mean, there's 20 great games on PCVR, uh, especially when you take into account the ones we just read off that are coming this month. I mean, hell, there's 7 this month that look fun as can be.
Yeah.
And maybe you want to take Hyperwheel Overdrive off of it because of the, the indie graphics. Those other 6, I mean, those are beautiful looking games, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
It just goes to show that the standard was raised with Asgard's Wrath, and I think that the bar is about to be raised again, Roots. It's going to be interesting to see what comes after.
Yeah, Asgard's what after this? Yeah,
Right.
it's gonna be the Half-Life effect, which, I mean, is shit, man. It needs to be that anyway, because once Valve enters the arena, everything changes. So that's the one.
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing that people, I know we've mentioned it before, but man, the Source 2, Gary's Mod 2, that is when things are going to get phenomenal. When people are creating things, the next Counter-Strike in VR or whatever. 'Cause a lot of people don't even know that, a lot of those Valve games started out as fan creations and just got built into a game, right? So
Yeah. When they open this up to the Steam Workshop, sky's the limit, right?
yeah, I want to see some of the mods. They'll have some pretty cool mods for this game in general. That would be pretty cool.
Yeah, man, it's just so beautiful. I look forward to it, man. I really do. I look forward to not only playing this game in its initial form, but to see what it becomes over the months and years ahead.
Did you warn your family not to bug you when this comes out for at least a week? I'm just gonna.
Well, I mean, my kids are kind of oblivious to it, but my wife knows. She sat and watched the trailers with me today, and she was as giddy as I was watching it.
Oh, I bet. Yeah.
She was just staring at her arm like, "Come on, you got to heal. We got 3 weeks,
Yeah. So, is there any part of her that wants to jump on any hoverboards or not?
No, not at all.
Never.
No, no. Her whole thing was when we were watching this today, she was torn because this is coming, and she sees how awesome it looks and how next level it looks. But honestly, she wants to get back into The Walking Dead because that's what she was playing when she got hurt.
Oh, I bet. Well, it's good that you've gotten so far through it. So you can be playing this. She can play that.
Yeah. Well, well, that's the great thing about it. We don't have to just have chocolate cake now. We can have some caramel cake and some tiramisu and hot fudge sundae. We've got enough great stuff now that we could bounce literally from great game to great game to great game, and we never have to play crap anymore. It's pretty cool.
It's getting that way. A year ago, it was a totally different story, right? Even when we started the show, it was a totally different story. Like,
Yeah. Where are the games? We have no games. VR is dead.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Look at me now, Ma. Look at me now.
it's crazy.
Anyway, that's going to wrap up our March releases. Did we leave any out? Screw you if you think so, because it's Half-Life Alyx. And besides, the few we listed here, man, it's hard to dismiss the other ones, right? Like Down the Rabbit Hole, Lies Beneath, The Room VR, Separation, I mean, good God, what a month we have ahead, man.
Yeah, yeah, they're all exciting. And a couple of them I'm really, really super psyched for, like Lies Beneath. I think that's my
Yeah.
second biggest one compared to Alex.
It's going to be an interesting conversation when we come back here in a month and we look at the month in review and we're trying to pick the games of the month. I mean, obviously, PCVR is probably going to be locked up, but we have some debate when it comes to PlayStation and Quest. We have some pretty heavy debate.
Yeah, who knows what'll drop too, man. There might be something that comes out that we're like, man, that blew everything except for Alex out of the water.
That's the thing. There's always something, isn't there?
Yeah.
There will be something else that's not on this list that we're talking about when we come back a month from now. There always is.
Call of Duty VR just drops out of nowhere. No, just kidding.
Population 1.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, Phil Yarn was just telling me that's I guess he said that what was it? He said I asked him what the reason was that they
He said he thinks that they're porting it over to Quest.
oh, that's what it was. Okay. Yeah.
Which, how cool would that be? I mean, if you're going to have a Fortnite of VR type game, I mean, obviously you'd want it to be on the platform that everybody has. I mean, it's incumbent that you have people in multiplayer games. So you kind of have to have platform play from the get-go, right?
Yeah, I just think that should be a no-brainer. Why would you not want to have every platform playing together? You know, it's weird when they don't.
From the beginning, because, I mean, you don't get a second chance to launch. You need to have a fair price, and you need to have cross-platform multiplayer ready at launch, or what the hell are you doing?
Yeah.
You're shooting yourself in the foot.
Yeah, you might as well not even release at that point.
Anyway, friends, this has been a fun one. We got a fun few weeks ahead. Be sure, if you're not already, that you subscribe to the channel. Click that bell so you can stay up with all of our content. It's going to get interesting, isn't it, Roots?
Yeah, for sure. And I think it'll be exciting to see what I don't even know. I don't know what I was gonna say. I just totally went out my head.
Yeah, well, with all of the new releases coming up this month and all of the surprise ones that are sure to come, definitely a month to be watching the Virtual Strangers channel. Definitely a time to be a member of our Discord if you haven't already. There's an invitation in the description. Go down there, join the club. We're getting bigger every day, aren't we, Roots?
Yeah, actually, we had a lot of people join this last week with the contest and stuff, and there's always good conversations. And we're doing the Because I Said So, and we want to include you guys in it. So join for that reason as well.
Yeah. If you guys want to make us play something, get on there and tell us. We are open. We are here, but to serve.
Yep.
Anyway, with that said, friends, we would like to thank you once again for watching. And for Roots, I'm Wes. We'll see you tomorrow, friends. Bye-bye.
Take it easy.